Hello Internet, That Geek Redhead here, and welcome to video 2 of, haven't decided yet, of my Tigatron cosplay build. Today I'm going to be showing you how I made the helmet. I'll be starting with the 3D model. I don't unfortunately have a process of the making of because my old computer did a bit of a crash out and I lost all of the footage except for this, which is the end product. And fun fact, this is actually the second model because before that, Blender had a crash out and deleted the old one, so with much despair I did end up making another one, and here it is. Please forgive the sudden drop in audio quality. As I said, this is an older video that I managed to salvage, but it does very briefly go into what I ended up doing with the model. I'm not going to go into how I made this because I don't know what I'm doing, and as you can see the low polyness is embarrassing, but as you can see by this very helpful head, I will link, I got it from Thingiverse to help size it. You can see it's going to be much bigger than my actual head, but that's because I don't know if it'll actually print this size because I don't know if I trust my new printer just yet, and also we'll just go with it. He'll just have a big head. He's a robot, it's fine. Everything else is going to be big on me, so it's good. Also, I will include padding in certain areas, such as here, for example, basically in all the crevices to make it a comfortable fit, because I'm not a stranger to having uncomfortable cosplays. My mic wig, for example, gives me a headache every sort of 20 minutes I'm wearing it, so I want to at least have this be semi-comfortable. Alright, so I'm just get rid of the head for now. So I have already divided these mostly into pieces. So this, for example, the faceplate is going to be one piece. Then the chin will be a separate one. I want to see if I can make it so that I can attach it to my own jaw to have it go like, hello, rah, 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 maximize. Yeah. But yeah, so everything is segmented. So I've got these bits, that bit, here's those side bits are two separate bits, and the back helm. Obviously, that is going to have to be split into definitely two, maybe even three pieces. In fact, sorry, not three. In fact, it'll definitely probably have to be split into 4 pieces so that my printer can take it. Yeah. But yeah, apart from that, that's Tigatron looking, if I dare say so myself, pretty damn good. Most of it was just geometrical shapes like these bits here that I just kind of had to tweak. I built the side bits, for example, just using basic, what do you call vertices building. The bits that killed me were the bloody cheek of him. Where I had to kind of step outside of my comfort zone and use the sculpting tool, which kind of went kind of okay, but there you are. A bit awkward. There's a reason I stick with like robots and such when I'm drawing, because of human squishy faces and shading and blending. No idea. Yeah, so that's that for you. The rest of what I'm going to be doing up until I print is just making sure that everything is obviously, manifolded properly so that it will in fact print, and also making sure I've sliced it enough, like between the face and the shield, the side of the face, just make sure that it doesn't overlap in an awkward way, so I won't have to do too much sanding and or cutting once it's printed. So yeah, there he is. Woo! So this is interesting. I hollowed out a piece in the slicer program, and it has in fact done that. And I forgot that there was a phenomenon that could happen when it comes to resin printing, and that is trapped resin. And you're probably thinking, oh, what do you possibly mean by that? There's a lot in there. Let's get a better grip. That's quite. It does explain why it's so much heavier than I was expecting a hollow piece to be, but yeah. Luckily, I can just drill a hole and it'll be fine. Wahey! Here I'm starting to assemble the pieces using contact adhesive, which turned out not to work incredibly well on its own. so I also used some UV resin to kind of tack along until I got a stronger bonding material, which came much later. It was a big faff, but I just wanted to get the shapes together.
It stinks in here. So I need to do a measurement there, and here. So this bit's actually bigger because it goes outwards rather than straight. So it can't just be a simple, rectangle. But I'll do like a cardboard or paper template first. And then, yeah. I'm quite pleased. Okay, so me putting that on my head just now wasn't just me mucking about. I mean, it mostly was, but it was also a test fit just to see how far down. Now, obviously, I was kind of going, that looks a lot. I thought I'd given myself a lot more room here for like padding and stuff and, leeway. But I kind of got worried going, oh, it's quite close to my chin. But then I remembered, oh, hang on a minute. That's not where his eyes are. So I've done a little bit of just a very temporary tack in to, where it is, at least in comparison to the 3D model. And I gotta say, look. I have to show you. Look, he's real. She's here. So, hopefully, when I look through the eye holes, because that's the most important thing, frankly, I need to be able to see where I'm going. Hopefully it's in the correct position and there's going to be plenty of room atop my head. So here we go. Okay, do you know what? There isn't actually much room. In fact, it's touching the top of my head. Alas, poor Tigatron. I knew him. She thought that's how the line went in that episode with Victory, wasn't it? Sorry, I'm getting distracted. Okay, so I do have a lift. I have, I'd say, maybe a centimetre of play for the top of the head, and also I am going to have to build up so it doesn't wobble around. But that's looking pretty cool. Yes. I'm having a blast. Okay, the face has fallen. The face is off. I was originally going to have the face detachable, but I just don't think that's plausible unless I create some channels in which it can slot in, but then I'd need to, find ways for it to be secured. My 3D printer's wonderful, but not 100% accurate when you're putting two pieces together. Obviously, as you can see, with lots of overlay sort of here, and in the centre you probably can't. From here it probably looks okay, but it's not flush here. Oh no, it still smells. Shouldn't have put my face in it, really. Do as I say, not as I do. Ah, look, retractable. Face off. I know.
Here I'm measuring and adding a scrap piece of foam, which was an old cheap yoga mat. Obligatory cat break. After getting the measurements from the scrap yoga mat, I did eventually manage to stick other bits together and cut out the real piece of foam, so 10mm, which I would eventually cover in poor man's fiberglass, because I can't get hold of fiberglass, and it was only for this one piece, and it doesn't need to be structural, it just needed to be sturdy, so I wasn't too worried about that. The saw came out when I realised that there wasn't quite enough room for the middle piece to fit in, so I just did a little bit of fiddling.
Anyway.
Here I'm tacking on some of the extra bits and finding that they don't quite fit because the booleans didn't work quite as well in Blender, so the saw inevitably came out.
I thought this was going to be a nice easy one where I come through here after it's defined it, but it turns out this is the only solid corner. After much finagling, finally got it-ish, and to take quite a big chunk out. Wait, that's not the one. This is. Didn't have to take quite so much off the bottom here, but that's fine because it'll be at the back. Nobody's going to notice, and if they do notice, they're too close. Respect a cosplayer's personal space. So this is like so. Got a bit of the back there, and then it kind of covers up that.
Once I was done with that, I moved on to the poor man's fiberglass, which is essentially a layer of resin, a bit of fabric, and then another layer of resin. It's not nearly as good as actual fiberglass, but it'll do in a pinch.
So I've got my creepy wishbone thing with a clear bit in the middle. So I'm just going to sand this down because it is rough. Very rough indeed. Not much more to say apart from that. Sandy, sandy, yay!
Not sure if you got it from that, but I hate sanding very, very much indeed. And that's what the majority of the rest of that session was for. Sanding that stupid little wishbone that was too short, and then going in on the seams as well, on the inside, the outside, just making sure that there's a little bit of smoothness, because I wanted it to be nice and smooth, and it took ages.
I've got the main helm nice and smooth. That was weird. Nice and smooth. I've just got like one little bit here because once again things kept falling off, but that's fine. What I'm planning on doing is I'm going to stick all the bits on. Just the helm. I'm not with the face yet. Not the face! So, oh, that's what that was, a bit of fluff. Yeah. So, you know, like this bit and these bits and that thing and broke again, but that's fine because I'll do it again. Yeah. I am going to hold on putting these bits on, mostly because when I printed them, they solid. Because in Blender, it would not let me just make it hollow. Every time I tried to, you know, optimize it for 3D printing, you know, make manifold, whatever you call it, it just kept breaking my model. And I was like, why? So I just printed it solidly, and they warped a little bit, and by a little bit I mean it went. And also they're heavy, so they're a little bit harder to shape because when I put them against this, it's not as bad, but it's not great really. And also I'm just being picky now. If I were to put it flat flush, it's not straight. Do I care? Yeah, I do. I think my plan will be to carve, rather than carving into this, because that took so long, I'm going to carve into this. And I literally just need to kind of do a bit of a notch here to, you know, make nice. But yeah, that's going to just be more sanding and cutting, yay! Especially when it's, like I said, solid resin. Learning curve. Yeah, so the plan is I put the bits on the thing, I make look nice, I make symmetrical as near as damn it, and then I'm going to coat the whole thing in several layers, thin layers, of epoxy resin to make it all one piece. I am desperately hoping that the poor man's fiberglass, it should be fine, because it's not, it's, well, I'll see, it's the back. She said, who cares? I do, but I'm also really impatient. And also, oh, I've just noticed there's a bit of a gap here, but again, I'm trying not to care. but it's hard when you spend this long on something. I'm sure others can relate. Anyway, so the goal of the epoxy is to make it one piece, so that when it is painted, it is one. Ooh. Yeah. Alright, so I'm going to attempt to glue things on. Ooh. There are gaps, but that's fine. I can fill them with stuff, and then we coat. Just gonna let this on. I think I shall. Ooh! Sorry, I can't tell if that's the glue or my own hair. It is the glue, but... Ooh, look! Ah, it's actually quite big. But I think that's probably a good thing, because if I made it like my exact head size, you know, proportionally it wouldn't work. But, yeah! And then, hang on, where did I put the face? I took his face off. No, it's not on yet. He goes in like that, but so cool. I'll put it on again, cause I'm a dweeb. Yeah, it definitely. Yeah. Okay, it definitely needs padding at the top, because the eyes are going to be about here, and also, yeah, that's. And also when I do, hang on, when I do this, it falls. Ooh. Yeah. Nice. I can't believe I've built this and made it. I know. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Yeah? It's impressive, isn't it? Tigatron does not approve of your noisiness. No. Consistent camera angles, what are those? I've successfully re-added the little piece that I had to take off for the curve, so it's essentially in 3 pieces now. But I've made it the correct length.
The rest of what remained of the outer helm was to fill in any unsightly gaps or seams with UV resin and or gap filler. I also added those stupid side pieces with quite a lot of faff and finagling and much grunting and griping about how I should have just figured out how to hollow them out, but oh well. Lots of gap filler to make them fit, which I did shape later. I left it to dry overnight and then came along the next day. A lot of sanding and wiping off and just general cleanup. Here I mixed the 2 parts of the epoxy resin to do the first coating of the helm. I don't often do vertical video, but I thought this would be a good little place to do a quick, not test fit because I know it fits, but just in terms of how it looks when I turn, because I haven't seen yet, because I can only see through the eye holes. But here we go. Let's pop him on. Ow. Ugh. There we go. Okay, so I can only, there you go, you can see, I can only see this way. My field of vision is very, but I can't even see. Am I in frame? Yeah. I'm still debating whether I can be bothered to add the bits at the back, but I will have to see how it goes. I can add it like a, where is it? Yeah, this, wait, hang on. This bit, yeah. Add it like that with the faux fiberglass, but yeah. Yep, I think, and it's pretty sturdy now. But you never knew you wanted to see Tigatron head banging. But yeah, the padding's fairly okay at the moment. Might have to do something about the fronts just because I can feel a bit of pressure. But yeah. The chin is over there. I can't be bothered, but it will go here. Obviously, you know where chins go. Still debating on whether or not to coat it in some sort of resin like I have done all with the fiberglass at the back, just to see how it looks. At the very least, it needs to be white. It's currently black, but yay! And here is the helmet with the chin piece on it. Please ignore the eraser head pins coming out of it. That was just a placeholder for the test piece of foam. But I think he's looking rather smashing. Rawr. And finally, coating the chin piece with resin. I am using UV resin because I'm lazy and impatient, but it did the trick and it just gave it a little bit more sturdiness for when I put it on rather than just collapsing. And yeah, I'm just laughing at his masking tape mustache. I will be doing more to him. For example, he needs priming, but I'm going to do all of the painting for all of the pieces all at once towards the end of the build. So please come back later to see how that goes. But yes, there he is in all of his glory. I am so proud of how he looks, how he feels, how I sculpted this from a 3D space into a real thing that is tangible in my hands that I can wear. And I'm really thankful that you have stuck around until the end of this video to see how he turns out. Thank you very much and have a great day.